Hello students, welcome to the MockBank class on Parajumbles. In this class, I will be taking 3 examples and would solve them step by step. We'll learn how to eliminate the options and what all things are needed to be kept in mind to solve a Parajumbles question. So this is the first question that I've taken. I'll take you through the instructions. The instructions tell you that S1 and statement number S6 are fixed and PQRS are in no proper order. What you have to do is you have to sort the 4 statements P, Q, R and S. So let us start solving this question. So what we'll first do is we'll go and read this statement number S1, because this is a statement that will be starting the paragraph. So for some time in his youth, Abraham Lincoln was manager for a shop. Then I'll glance through all the 4 statements that need to be sorted. It says, when a chance customer would come, young Lincoln's way of keeping shop was entirely unlike anyone else's. Lincoln would jump up and attend to his needs. Let's go and see this word. It says his needs. And who would attend to his needs? Lincoln. Lincoln as a noun we've already introduced in the first statement. That means this particular pronoun his would have been used for someone. Let's go and read statement number S. He used to lie full length on the counter of the shop eagerly reading a book. So who would have the time to lie full length on the counter of the shop? I am sure that this particular he is being used for Lincoln. I have a Lincoln here, I have a Lincoln here, and I have a customer over here. So I can get that this particular his as a pronoun is being used for customer. That means in any of the options, my statement number P would come before statement number R. Right? That means PR would be a pair for me. Now if PR is a pair for me, I can cut down on this option, I can cut down on this option. I'm left with option number B and D. You see, what I did was, the moment I could get one pair, I did not stick to the question. I straight away went to the options, and what the exercise helped me is to straight away cut down 2 options. So now what we have ended up accomplishing is cutting down of 2 options out of 4, which is a very important activity to get the question right and at the same time reduce your time. Now if you closely look at these 2 options, both the options start with Q. That means after my statement number S1, I would definitely have Q, right? So I'll read through this. For some time in his youth, Abraham Lincoln was manager for a shop. Young Lincoln's way of keeping shop was entirely unlike anyone else's. After Q we have S, after Q we have P. Then a chance customer would come, and then in statement number S he writes, he used to lie full length on the counter of the shop eagerly reading a book. So this particular action right from here to here could be said that it is explaining statement number Q, right? So when I say that young Lincoln's way of keeping shop was entirely unlike anyone else's, how am I explaining that statement? That he used to lie full length. That means my statement number Q would be followed by statement number S. And then I would say that a chance customer would come, Lincoln would jump up and attend to his needs and then revert to his reading. Never before had Lincoln had so much time for reading as he had then. So my option number B goes on to my correct answer. Let's go and do one more question. The instructions remain the same, that we have statement number S1 and we have statement number S6 which are fixed, and I need to sort these 4 statements. Okay. So I'll go to the first statement. It says, in the middle of one side of the square sits the chairman of the committee, the most important person in the room. For a committee is not just a mere collection of individuals. On him rests, so I have got a pronoun over here, on him, for the success or failure of the committee. While this is happening, we have an opportunity to get the feel of this committee. As the meeting opens, he runs briskly through a number of formalities from the moment. So I have a pronoun he, I have a pronoun him. I am absolutely sure that these two pronouns are being used for chairman, right? That means my logical order would be S1, right? Then I would either have Q or I would either have S, right? That means what I can do is I can cut down on option number A and I can cut down on option number B, right? I'm left with option number C and option number D. Option number C and option number D have SQ and QS. So I'll read this. In the middle of one side of the square sits the chairman of the committee, the most important person in the room. That means I would need to explain that why is he important, right? I have read on him rests much of the responsibility for the success or failure of the committee. And then it says as the meeting opens, he runs briskly through a number of formalities. So which sentence explains you that chairman of the committee is actually the most important person in the room? For me, this is much explanatory because it says on him rests much of the responsibility for the success or failure. When I can say that on a person depends the responsibility for the success or failure of the committee, I would consider that person as important, right? So when I consider that person as important, my statement number S1 will be followed by statement number Q. Then S says as the meeting opens, he runs briskly through a number of formalities. Makes sense. Then I'll see, go to R, why this is happening. What is happening? That he is running briskly through a number of formalities. We have an opportunity to get the feel of this committee. For a committee is not just, I've introduced committee over here and then I'm only and only talking about committee, right? So when I say its members, this its is actually referring to the committee. So my answer for this particular problem becomes option number D. Let's move on to the last problem. The instructions would be a little different in this. In the first two questions, what we had was we had the first statement and the fourth statement, the last statement fixed. So that became a little easier for us because we had the first statement and the last statement. Over here, I do not have any statement fixed. I have four statements and all the four statements need to be sorted up. So let's see this. It says they, I do not know who they. Thus, as a word will definitely have something before it. But I would rather not start my sentence or paragraph with but. So that only leaves me with option number 2. So when I am only left with statement number 2 to start with, at least I can cut down on this option. I read this statement. Most computer users develop disorders because they ignore warnings like tingling fingers, a numb hand or a sore shoulder. This particular statement, if you closely see, is explained here. It says they keep. So who they? I'm using they for most computer users. They keep pointing and dragging until tendons chafe and scar tissue forms, along with bad habits that are almost impossible to change. 2 is followed by 3. Okay, so this makes sense. Over here also 2 is followed by 3. Over here also 2 is followed by 3. So I'll still hold on to this. So when do you search for relief? When you start facing some problem, right? So where is the problem listed? The problem is listed in this statement. So my statement number 3 will anyway be before statement number 1. Okay, so when I get this, I can cut down on this option. I can straight away cut down on this option. I am only and only left with this option. I'll take you through this problem again. So first what I did was I eliminated option number D because option number D starts with statement number 1 and it says thus. Thus is always a result giving word. Thus I would not start my paragraph with thus. And why did I cut option number A and option number B? Because I needed to have this link, right, which was being defied. So if you see 1 is before 3, 1 is before 3, whereas I ought to had 3 before 1. So right, so remember as a summary of this class, what I did was I was very particular about the options and eliminated them as and when I needed them. Secondly, what I did was I used pronouns a lot and I used these keywords for cutting down on my options. So Parajumbles as an exercise should highly focus on elimination of options, and at the same time be very focused on catching these kind of keywords. I hope this session was useful to you. Thank you very much.